and welcome to another edition of That's Crap Detection. I'm your host, Dean Bennerman. Today, I'm very lucky and honored and happy to be joined by fellow ECI 832 student, Curtis Bourassa. Curtis is the technology coach for Southeast Cornerstone, and he's very close to becoming married, which is a pretty cool fun fact. Curtis, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Dean?
Oh, excellent. Thank you. How are things today in your neck of the woods?
Yes, my day was excellent. So I started off the day, I was doing some coding with some grade 4 students. So we were using Scratch, and they've all created their mini quizzes. So we're just kind of learning how to program to make a multiple choice quiz that they can go around and test their peers. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Very cool
to do that with the kids. So yeah,
getting that computational thinking in there. I love it.
Yes. Oh, it's so rewarding to see, the kids light up, and especially with the grade 4s, they absolutely love coding. So it's a really good thing. So
yeah, it's super motivating, and also too, you're getting them ready for their future, because I think there's going to be, it's not going away. I think a lot of the coding things that are happening right now, we need to get our students doing that for sure, and to have them smile and to experiment is bonus for sure.
Yeah. Like there's that saying out there right now that majority of the jobs that are going to be up and coming don't even exist right now. So just kind of due to all the new tech coming out. So makes me feel pretty special.
Yeah, no, it is. It's and to see, like, and that's the thing. I like what you said there too with the grade 4s. They can start out pretty young, and they're pretty inquisitive, and all it really is playing, right? And getting that, if you make a mistake, not a big deal. I'll try something else, and oh, look, it worked, and that's pretty gratifying for sure.
Yeah, and for lots of those rooms, it's kind of breaking the cycle, and it's okay to make mistakes, and being resilient and trying again, because that's what coding is. As you know, if things don't work, and they often don't work, but you just kind of keep pushing through and trying to make sense of what you're doing. So yeah,
and I'm loving what you're saying right now, because that's going to tie in exactly a lot into what our show is about today. Because I really feel when you're trying to fact check, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to hit roadblocks, you're going to find things. But if you keep persevering, I think that a lot of times, we're going to be successful more than not, and that's preparing our students too for their world right now, but definitely, in the future, as we get bombarded with all this information and I think our jobs are really critical to get that love of learning and making mistakes and that growth mindset going for sure. So I'll just start you with the first question, and that's, so have you ever come across an episode where you've had to deal with false information, either in the classroom or with somebody and how did you use that as a teachable moment?
Yeah, so I can think of a couple examples here. So personally, I see this happen quite often, and whether it be, people are sharing articles that are outdated and very old. I remember one of my friends there posted, I think it was about a terrorist attack in Canada, I think in Edmonton, a number of years ago, and just kind of posted it as if it was yesterday. And sometimes I will put on my big shoes and say, hey, check the date on that, that this happened kind of quite some time ago. And I think those examples for students, and just recognizing that there's adults out here that aren't making sense of our world. It's very important that we take the time to teach students the proper tools and the proper resources that we have available to go in and teach how to identify the false information. And another example that I can think of right now is when I was in the classroom. I was teaching grade 9 social studies, and a conversation came up where, and this was the time where the Confederate flag was, like a big issue. And I taught in a very rural town, about 300 people, and I had this one student who he was all about the Confederate flag, and for reasons not I would say not aligned to what was going on in the States, but you really have to take those moments and use it as a teaching opportunity and look at the significance of some of those things. So that's kind of one instance that I can really pick out in my teaching career. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I liked a lot of things that you said. You're basically turning them into detectives, right? Check,
Mm,
where he's seeing here. Oh, here's a
yes.
date. Ah, okay. Are you putting two and two together? But I also liked with that last example that you gave that you're trying to help that student figure it out for themselves. You're not just saying that's bad. You're saying, well, dig a little bit and become informed before you make that decision.
Right. Yeah, we definitely want them to yeah, critically think about, what they're coming across, and it's not, I feel like lots of times teachers get a bad rap on that we try to, change opinions and that sort of thing. But I think part of it is just questioning and getting
Right.
students to question their beliefs and that sort of thing. And I don't believe that there'd be anything wrong with that.
Yeah,
So
no, I agree. Well, our job, I think, is to open minds,
absolutely.
more than anything else.
Absolutely.
So to help open minds kind of falls into the next question. So if we want to get kids to be open-minded about things, what kind of fact-checking tools or strategies have you used or do you use?
Um, Personally, I use Snopes as my kind of main fact-checking tool, and I would say in the classroom, I didn't really get into using fact-checking tools in the classroom, just because I think we were just kind of on the fringe of when fake news and this kind of whole movement just kind of really boomed. And if I was to go back into the classroom, especially if I was in a high school class, those tools would be, um, I would be promoting those a lot and making sure that kids are accessing those and checking information, and just going through and making sure that we have reputable news sources, and just checking checking dates and make sure that all the content um, comes from a source that's trusted.
Yeah.
And I guess even thinking, going through some of that stuff, I did that with grade 4 and grade 5 students, teaching kids, if I'm learning about diseases or, something like that in health, well, is the mom's home remedy site going to be the most effective, or am I going to get my information from like a university or like a site like that? So those would be some kind of fact checking tools that I have used personally or in the classroom, but definitely now I use Snopes kind of as my one where I take some people's Facebook posts and check them out for
Check them
them.
out. Cool. Well, I really
Yeah.
like the fact that you're trying to foster curiosity too, which, like think about that. And also instead of just grabbing something and retweeting it or sharing it or whatever, I like the fact that you're promoting, well, at least try Snopes or something out and just, you know, try a couple things before you go ahead with that. Because even sometimes a couple quick fact checks and you're like, whoa, okay, hang on. What am I saying about myself? That's something we even talk about in class with digital identity, right? If you put this out, somebody's going to think, oh, that's the type of person you are. And you just had to maybe step back a little bit, use a tool like Snopes, and
Yeah.
you can kind of save yourself a lot of embarrassment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think, especially in the digital world that we live in with people that, who may be oversharers or sharing information, um, it's very important that we are getting our information and sharing information that is relevant and is not going to lead people astray. And so I think um, we've kind of missed a generation of people and citizens with these skills. So I think our job as educators and through digital citizenship, those skills are very, very important skills just for citizenship in general,
Yeah.
not digital citizenship.
I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%. And you've been a great guest because everything you're saying is leading into my next question. So it's excellent. So I know you're saying be a good digital citizen or just be a good citizen and all that. So how do you get that balance between being critical thinking when you're looking at resources and stuff and avoiding just somebody becoming too like cynical and saying, "Oh, everything on the internet's crap"?
Yeah. And this question, this is a tough one. I am, and I'm assuming that you're noticing too, just the amount of polarization that our world is in right now, and whether it be in Canada, living in Saskatchewan, kind of in our political climate, and we're in the States, kind of with what's going on now, and I imagine it's only going to get worse as the election kind of comes up here. I think for us to be healthy critical thinkers is we really need to take a look at looking at information from all sides. And even us as educators, even myself who might lean a particular way, we need to do, I would say I need to do better to make sure that I'm informed on kind of all sides, and just to be able to understand, where my students are coming from, and where parents are coming from, and that sort of thing, just to understand our our environment and our society a little bit more. A couple of tools that that Mary Beth Hertz shared with you and I, Dean. If you don't mind, I'd love to share my screen.
Please. Yeah, no, that'd be great, because that's some pretty powerful stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So let me know when you can see that up there.
Yeah, I got it, my friend. Thank you.
Okay, good. So this one here, this tool, or it's called Add Fonts Media up here. And this is a media bias chart, and it is American, but I'd like to say lots of the news that we intake, even as Canadians, come from American news sites. But even taking a look at this, and how does this influence our thinking, right? So taking a look, if I get most of my news from CNN, well, CNN obviously is more left-leaning than some of the other news sources. I think this one, is a little bit better. And so just kind of taking a look at this of where you're getting your information from. Is my information, is it coming from a neutral or a balanced bias? So I think that some of those sites there, this graphic I feel like really helps, and it might motivate students to try to figure out, where do I find some of those neutral sources to get some of my information? So I think that would be kind of one way to make sure that we're getting information, critical thinking, without becoming too cynical.
I like how you brought bias into the picture. That's excellent.
Yeah. And then the other the other site that I think is fantastic, and I wish I would have known about this sooner, is this All Sides. And what All Sides does, and again, this was shared by Mary Beth Hertz with our class, and she shared this, and you can see this if we take a look at, I don't know, the coronavirus commands news cycle, okay, from the center. So this would be like an unbiased news source, whereas from the left would be more left-leaning, and then from the right would be more right-leaning. So even providing, students with a source like this to really take a look at all sides and to pull out those different pieces, I think that would be a very interesting and super beneficial experiment and project to do with kids.
Yeah, definitely gives you like a complete picture, and that too, it's well-rounded for sure.
Yeah. So, so even kind of looking at, just kind of with the topics that some people share on social media, and, with something like this site, I feel like lots of, we wouldn't see as much cynicalism as, we get a whole, I feel like if we shared and people went and took the time and got the different sides, I feel like we would be far more like we'd be generating a lot more critical thinkers.
Right. And they'd also say that, yeah, well, then based on this, this is what I believe, and I've looked at the different things, and this goes with what my personal identity would be, and my
Absolutely.
feelings. So
Yeah,
that's a really good tie into what we've been talking about in class as well.
just being able to back your information up, right?
Yeah.
And to be like, this is what I believe in, and for these reasons, and coming from a non-biased standpoint. Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool. Those are some awesome shares.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you like to share as we conclude our time together?
Let me think here. Like, just with with us promoting digital citizenship, being able to decipher information is so critical for our students. And so I commend you, Dean, for we had a little talk earlier on some of the stuff that you've been doing in your class, and like making sure and to vet those resources, and to share resources, and to provide that collaboration with students. It's great work that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, and right back at you. And also too, like even when we talk about in class, now with things like deep fakes coming in and that's threatening democracy from what I understand, it's pretty scary stuff. But the way do we combat that is like getting a message out, like what we're talking about here. We have the tools and the capabilities to counter a lot of the things that are trying to mislead us, for sure, if we take the time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Curtis, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for being part of the show. That's another edition of That's Crap Detection. I'm Dean Venderman, and until next time, know your craft. Have a good one. Thank you.